And I'm Matt Hanna.
And this is Horror Hour with the Hanna.
We talk about all your favorite scary movies.
In the wise words of Bodies, 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 today's episode is a podcast about hanging out with your smartest and funniest friend. And we have return guest Casey here with us.
Hi.
Hi, Casey. We are hoping you like this movie better than you liked the last one.
Yeah, we have you back from season 1 after we watched The Witch.
Very early guest.
Yeah, very.
And since you've been on the podcast, you've both graduated with a master's and gotten married to other podcast guest Preston.
True.
Yeah.
Fun facts.
Very popular guest, too.
The homies love Preston.
I was going to say, why have we not actually covered Bodies, Bodies, Bodies after you say that every single time?
I don't know.
Yeah. That's
Just
probably one we
haven't.
got to add to the list.
I didn't know how popular it was, so I was kind of like avoiding it, but also I love
It's
that
huge.
movie.
People love that movie.
I
Good
used to not
deconstruction.
see it anywhere, and all of a sudden I've seen it pop off on TikTok. Have you seen any clips from Bodies, Bodies, Bodies at all?
I have never heard of that.
It's another
We're on
like
TikTok.
horror comedy.
It's definitely
Pete
more
Davidson's
funny
in it.
than horror.
A lot of
Okay.
people. It's
Is it
Rachel
more
Sennett.
recent?
Yeah, it came out like 2 years ago. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I think it came
Okay.
out in 2020.
It's like kind of a whodunit more than anything. It's pretty damn funny though.
bored
we saw
in the
it.
house, and I'm in the
Yeah,
house, bored
it's-
in a board in the house.
There's a
and
lot
I'm
of
in
like
the
Gen
house,
Z
bored.
bullshit. There's like TikTok stuff in it, and
Okay.
it really works.
It's
to be honest,
very making fun of Gen Z, but in like a
Very
way that
endearing,
really
yeah.
works. It's very endearing.
but it's a good time. But we watched a different horror comedy today, which was The Menu. Which, Casey, this was your first time watching, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
We gave Casey a couple options, and this was her pick, so I hope she liked it enough.
And I have seen it a couple times, and Hannah, you've also seen it multiple times. Do we see it in theaters?
No, I wanted to, and
Why do
then
I-
we
I
fucked
can't-
it up.
I can't remember things.
It came out in
apparently.
2022. I think it came out within like the month or two span that Barbarian did, and we saw that, and we didn't see this.
All right, good choice.
I think Barbarian might have come out like a month before.
So we watched
I
this
could be
at home.
bullshitting though.
Well, Hannah and I like this movie, I would say.
Yeah, it gives me Knives Out vibes, but in like
Sure.
horror comedy version.
Not as...
It's not as
It's not-
smart, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's what I'm
Actually,
saying.
this movie is incredibly smart. I was like trying to look up like the food part of it because like I am not chef. I have no idea what a Paco Jet is. Like I was trying to look up that stuff, and all of the background info that kept coming up. Like every fucking piece of this movie is very well thought out.
I was going to say, though, it feels like it's a more poorly executed version of what Knives Out's trying to do, but I don't think that's a fault of its own. It's more about, like, Knives Out being very, very good, and Rian Johnson being, like, a very talented writer and director. So, no, that's just kind of where I feel.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Well, Casey, what's the verdict? Were we a yes, no, somewhere in the middle?
I think I liked it. I don't enjoy gore, so I had to look away a number of times. But overall, I enjoyed it.
Woot
I think-
woot.
All right, we're in. It's funny you call it gore, though, because there's just, like, so much worse stuff out there.
That's normally
Like, so I was
what
like, yeah, I
makes
was like,
me
that's not
hard.
too bad. Like, that's, like, reasonable, you know? There's some stuff out there that's just nasty. Like,
We should get her to watch some scenes in stop motion.
stop motion's not
No,
really
just
gore.
kidding. You would like pass away. It's fucking disgusting. The leg scene. You think she
Sure,
can handle
yeah,
the
you're
leg
right, the
scene?
leg
I
scene's
didn't watch
gross.
the leg scene.
Just a woman
she
cuts
digs
her leg-
into her
like,
leg
digs her own
and
muscle
pulls
out.
part of
Okay.
the muscle out.
It was more gore for gore's sake. It wasn't, like, interesting. At least in this
Yeah.
one, it's more, like, kind of shocking and happens quickly.
Yeah.
It's not, like...
It's also like quintessential to the plot.
Yes.
Like it's important.
I guess that's when I think of gore, I very much think of, like, lingering shots on things that are, like, there to just, like, disturb you, where this is more, I think, like,
Well, that's why I
shock
don't like.
and fun.
Like I like.
You don't like late Saw?
Saw, because I think it's interesting. Like I think the story's interesting, but I can't watch like 90%
You
of the
like Saw
movie.
because the Saw movies are actually just a soap opera with intercut. Do you hear what I said? You're not even going to acknowledge? The whole Saw
Soap
movie is a soap
opera.
opera. Do you agree?
No,
You're just wrong. Everyone out there think about it.
I don't know.
Post movie 1, Saw is a soap opera with just, like, traps interspliced. It's like a detective soap drama.
I don't know. It's hard for me to equate that much blood with a soap opera.
That's what I'm saying.
Really
It's
gross.
genius. Good movies. You can just hide through the gore and enjoy everything else.
Reading the plot is very entertaining, but like watching them is
The first one's great.
Some
We talked about
rough.
that. The first one's not that gory. It really
The first
not gory
one
at
is
all.
like nothing.
It's all
they
aftermath.
definitely, yeah, we talked about it in our Saw episode, but they clearly like got the wrong thing. Like they thought audiences liked one thing, but that's not what people liked.
Okay.
Like no one cares about the gore part, like because it doesn't exist. People weren't like, "That's gross. I want to see more
And
of
they
it."
basically
People were
just
like,
took the
"The
entire
story's really
message.
cool."
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was like the setup. It's intense. It's like very goofy looking and shot kind of funny. So, but sorry, we can talk about this movie.
Alas.
So we're on a we kind of like it.
Yes.
All right.
I would say.
And
Good.
we'll talk about why, but let's do our 15-second summary.
Sure.
I don't know how to do this. I
do
can
you
go
want me to-
first.
Oh, you go
always,
first?
I always make you go first. I
Okay,
feel like I
ready?
can woman up.
Go.
Chef who is fatigued by chefing kills people who make his job harder and worse and don't appreciate him.
Yep. Good work.
Yeah.
Good work.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to go or Casey? Do you want to go?
I'll go.
Oh, nice.
Oh, damn. Look at you go. Okay.
Chef who is disillusioned by wealthy patrons and what they've done to art creates the ultimate menu where the patrons are on it.
Oh shit! That could have been a
shit.
tagline. It's better than any I've done in like the past 20 episodes.
Yeah. We've gotten extremely bad at these.
Oh, it's okay.
Are you going to make a joke?
I'm just gonna be quick with it. You ready?
Okay.
Ray Fiennes turns a bunch of people into s'mores.
Yeah. I was also realized there was a missed opportunity to refer to him as Voldemort.
Oh, you're
Voldemort
right.
kills more people.
Yeah, he's better in this than he is as Voldemort.
I don't know.
He's so good in this.
I'll give it a try.
I gotta give this full summary so you guys can nod off while I read this whole thing for the viewers.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we will start right now. Tyler and his date, Margot, traveled by boat to Hawthorne, an exclusive restaurant on a private island operated by celebrity chef Julian Slowick. The other guests are food critic Lillian Bloom and her editor Ted, wealthy regulars Richard and Anne, washed-up movie star George Diaz, and personal assistant Felicity Lynn, business partners Soren, Dave, and Bryce, and Slowick's alcoholic mother Linda. The group is given an island tour by maitre d' Elsa, who notes that Margot is not Tyler's designated guest. Dinner begins and Slowick introduces a series of courses during which he delivers increasingly unsettling monologues. For the third course, uncomfortable truths about each guest are exposed via images laser printed on tortillas. During the fourth course, sous chef Jeremy London shoots himself. When Richard tries to leave, the staff cuts off his left ring finger as a warning to stay. Slowick arranges for Hawthorne's angel investor Doug Varick, to whom Slowick relinquished ownership during the COVID-19 pandemic, to be drowned in front of the guests. The fifth course commences with Slowick allowing himself to be stabbed by Catherine, an employee who he sexually harassed. The female guests dine with Catherine, while the men are given the chance to escape the island via a game of cat and mouse, but Slowick's staff catches them all. When Lillian attempts to gain Catherine's favor by offering assistance and starting her own restaurant, Catherine reveals that she was the one who suggested Slowick kill the guests and the staff. Slowick explains that each guest was invited because they contributed to him losing his passion for his craft or because they make a living by exploiting the work of food artisans like him. He announces that everyone will be dead by the end of the night. Since Margot's presence was unplanned, Slowick privately gives her the choice of dying with the staff or the guests. When she hesitates, he chooses the staff. Margot is unmasked as an escort named Erin, whose clients include Richard, whom he hired to pretend to be his daughter. Slowick reveals that Tyler was informed the guests would be killed, but despite this, he was so zealous to participate in Slowick's craft that he kept it a secret and hired Margot to replace his ex-girlfriend because Hawthorne does not seat lone diners. Slowick invites Tyler to cook, and his performance fails to live up to his pretensions. Slowick humiliates him by detailing his culinary mistakes, then whispers in his ear, and a deflated Tyler leaves the kitchen and hangs himself. Slowick asks Margot to go to the smokehouse and retrieve a barrel needed for dessert. En route, Margot sneaks into Slowick's house, where she's attacked by a jealous Elsa. After a scuffle, Margot fatally stabs her. After seeing a framed Employee of the Month award showing Slowick as a young and happy cook preparing hamburgers at a Greasy Spoon diner, Margot finds his radio, calls for help, and returns to the restaurant with the barrel. A Coast Guard officer named Dale arrives. After the guests are convinced they have been saved, Dale reveals himself to be a line cook in disguise and returns to the kitchen. Margot confronts Slowick for his loveless cooking and complains that she is still hungry. When he asks her what she would like, Margot requests a cheeseburger and french fries prepared without the pretentiousness of fine dining. Slowick personally attends to her meal and finds joy in doing so. After one bite, Margot praises the food, then requests to take it to go. Slowick allows her to leave, and Margot escapes on the Coast Guard boat docked nearby. The dessert is an elevated s'mores dish in which the staff decorates the restaurant with sauces and crushed graham crackers, then dresses the guests in marshmallow stoles and chocolate hats. Sully sets the restaurant ablaze, detonating the barrel and killing the guests, staff, and himself. Margot watches the fire from the boat and eats her cheeseburger.
Okay.
That's it.
Few things.
Yeah.
One, I almost started giggling when you were talking about the tortillas because I was just thinking of her going, tortilla. They're like, what is this? Tortilla. Also, you skipped background entirely on
my
this
bad.
one because you were so excited.
We went to 15-second summaries.
Yeah, I'm also going to blame you.
You skipped background. I don't have that list in front of me.
You're as capable as I am of pulling the list up.
Well, all right, give me some background.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I'm going to do that now.
Maybe this is the new order.
I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't appreciate it. Okay. Directed by Mark Mylod and written by Seth Rice and Will Tracy, starring Ralph Fiennes, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Nicholas Hoult. And Adam McKay is one of the producers, along with famous comedian. Can you guess who was also a producer?
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell.
Wow. Him and McKay are buddies.
Yeah,
that was my guess.
I know. So it's a good guess.
I completely guessed that, so finally.
Yeah, you finally got one of the guesses. Okay, well, here's another guess. This movie was nominated for 2 Golden Globes. Can we guess what they are for?
Best editing.
No.
Oh, in case you get a guess.
Best. Supporting actor?
For who? Tyler?
No, I would say
actor?
Fiennes because it's still a small part.
Okay. He was nominated, but for lead actor.
Oh, okay.
In a musical
And was
comedy.
best supporting Nicholas Hoult?
No.
Oh, okay.
So Ralph Fiennes was nominated, as was Anya Taylor-Joy.
Huh.
I find that one more surprising.
Golden Globes actually cares about horror a little bit.
Yeah. Also, this was put up as comedy.
Makes sense. Well, there's not a horror category.
No, it's drama or it's comedy or musical. And this is definitely...
The Golden Globes are silly because those are the 2 genres. Comedy, musical, and drama.
Yes, that's all that exists.
All right.
So some other facts about the acting. The role of movie star, he actually does not get a name in the movie, I don't think. It is played by John Leguizamo. But
It was George Diaz was his name, according to Wikipedia.
Okay, but in the credits, it only says movie star. He does not get a name.
That's fine.
The role was originally written for Daniel Radcliffe, but he couldn't do it.
Oh, that would have been so funny.
Yeah, so they had to change all of the jokes because they were kind of written for Dan Rad specifically.
This guy's still good. That is so funny for the audience. That's just a complete meta joke.
Yes.
I'm kind of disappointed by that, actually. I wish I didn't know that.
Yeah, it would have been so funny with him hanging out with
And he
Voldemort.
is funny. We've seen him. Swiss Army Man's great, and even the Weird Al movie's pretty damn funny.
Yeah.
He is a good actor.
He is a very good actor.
Comedic actor,
he recently won his first Tony. Woot woot,
I just think about
Rad.
the F word. If you need a rom-com you never heard of, it's called What If, or if you're in not the US, it's called The F Word, and it has Daniel Radcliffe as the leading man, and Adam Driver, and it's really good. And Zoe Kadzin.
She's
I don't
so
know
good.
if you know who she is. In case you'd like it if you like rom-coms.
Okay.
It's a really cute rom-com that's just actually way funnier than most of them are. So
You just want
that's
to have
probably one of my
sex and eat
favorites.
nachos.
No, not the line.
I just had sex,
so
and I'm gonna eat nachos.
It's the greatest day of my life. Yeah, that's.
And
Adam
now
Driver
you're
says
ruining
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, good movie. I have a lot of background on the food piece of things because this movie, like I said, is really thoughtful. I actually was trying to look up I guess more about each individual dish and the ingredients, and that is not what I ended up finding, but I thought my facts were very fun, so let's do it. This obviously had to involve the work of a lot of people that work in fine dining and food service to consult with. So Chef Dominique Crenn, who is the only female chef in the United States to attain 3 Michelin stars, was heavily involved in the film, and she recreated some of her dishes for Hawthorne. All the food that they did have in the movie, though, is not real food. They're plastic or like
Real
recreations
food
of
doesn't
it.
photograph well.
Exactly. So, I guess the only food that actually was eaten in the movie was Anya Taylor-Joy's burger. And so after filming that, John Leguizamo ordered burgers and fries for everybody because they all wanted food.
Her mouth is way too small for that burger at the
Yeah.
end.
I was
And
noticing
the
that
bite
too.
is really funny because it's like,
But yeah, she was eating that damn burger.
that burger looked pretty good.
It did
I'm not a
look
big
good.
fan of a double patty, but
I
like
don't
it
even
was a
like
real
red
smash.
meat.
It was a smash burger. Like I like the onions. Like I feel like it was the right style. I just think there's too much meat on that thing, you know. But better than being one of those thick patties.
What's
Those are
your
gross.
verdict? 1 patty or 2 patty? I don't eat red meat, so I can't really.
I maybe have a bigger appetite. I would eat it as it was.
Damn, I'm just a weird. I don't like
Bitch.
burgers that much. So
You've been told. Okay. Also, one of the second unit director, David Gilb, might be pronouncing wrong. He does the Netflix docuseries Chef's Table. So they brought him in for like the filmmaking style for the food, which I think is really cool. The entire kitchen staff was trained on how to actually make the dishes. And they like broke it down according to station, like you guys would need to know what this is or whatever. So that way, anytime you look at them, they're doing the correct things.
Did this person work on the bear too? Feels like they would have.
What
don't know.
part?
Just everything about like it, I'm just saying the people
I've
they
talked
consulted.
about multiple
sorry, the
people.
2 people. I'm just saying.
Bad listener.
No, I just forgot already. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if there's one person running around doing all the cooking dramas.
I'd be about it. Also, the restaurant being on an isolated island and only accessible via boat is inspired by a real restaurant called Willow's Inn, which is located on the island of Lumi, which I don't know what country that is, and only reachable by ferry. What else? Oh, the s'mores course is also inspired by the chef Dominique Coren's dish that's served in one of her restaurants. In her restaurant, the chocolate and confectionery are painted directly on the table as a mural.
Okay.
I don't know what part is eaten or how it's eaten.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
I only got that part of the fun fact.
I wonder if
but
this
they just
person
paint it on the floor.
Did she enjoy being made fun of? Like, I'm sure she
That's
liked
what
them taking the piss out
I
of
was
her.
kind of thinking is like they're kind of making fun of you too.
No, but I'm sure. Yeah, you have to imagine these people have good senses of humor. I
But
would
maybe
hope.
she actually still loves her craft, so
True.
it would be different.
So is that all of our background?
Let's see. The word chef obviously is a professional title, but it's also used as a sign of respect.
Yes, chef.
But if we notice that Tyler is repeatedly called a cook, not a chef. So when chef gets him to go up, he's like, "Come on, Tyler, you're a cook. You're a cook."
He seemed like a hobbyist though
Yes.
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he very much, I think, and we'll definitely talk about that, like, what Tyler means in the grand scheme of things, but I think it's like, he's very interested in it, he knows what he's talking about, but he doesn't actually understand the art of it.
Yeah, I think.
But we
he's
can
like
get into that more.
Yeah, we can get into that.
I feel like it'll
but
probably make the most sense to break down the movie when we're talking about what it means by, like,
by dish.
the courses, maybe.
Nice. By dish. Let's
Which
do
I
it.
love.
All right.
Okay, hold on. More fun facts. Do I have any? Oh, Tyler constantly makes references to food and saying things like, "This is to die for," or "embalm me in this," because he very much knew he was going to die. And the last fun fact, I like this because it's inspired by Greek mythology. A newspaper article in Chef's house refers to the fact that he worked at a restaurant called Tantalus. Do either of you know anything
don't
about
know that
Tantalus in
one.
Greek mythology?
No.
He invited the gods to his home for a dinner, and he served them his son that he had murdered and made into food.
Maybe I do know that
so it's in Percy Jackson.
Huh.
So you probably do. When the gods realized what he had done, they basically punished him to like sit in a shallow pool of water under a fruit tree. So
I do know this
he
one.
tried to like get fruit or water,
if the branch
it would
grows away from
recede or
him,
grow
and when he
away,
would go
yeah.
to drink, the water would recede, and he stood still.
So you can
But
think,
he couldn't die.
So I think that the reason why they picked that is also representative of how like all food and drink is now meaningless to chef.
They also
It's
do
not.
that in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Whoa.
Curse of the Black Pearl.
Oh fuck, you're so right, bestie.
I am. I'm not making it up. Like,
God, I love that movie.
I do too.
Have you seen that movie?
Which number is that?
the first one.
One.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
God bless.
I was going to say, yeah, that we're believers that that's one of the best movies ever made, the first one, or at least a perfect film. Anything after that's fine, but...
Yeah. I love that movie so much. Okay, yeah, so lots of fun facts. I'm sorry, I just thought they were so fun.
Oh, this is a lot. You've been going for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I do that
keep
for a
going.
lot of them anymore. No, that's all. That's all I have.
Oh, that's
I'm
it?
done. I'm cutting myself
Okay.
off at 10 minutes.
Well, I'm going to say one thing I liked right away because it's something I complain about a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, while looking kind of clean cut in like a way that I usually complain about, had a very distinct and like cohesive style that I thought completely complemented the whole like kitchen and like cook aesthetic, and it really worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I have nothing to complain. Maybe it was because there was actually some thought that went into the way it looked.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was very happy. I was like, oh, this movie actually, like, it's not anything crazy, but it had just like a cohesive style, and it was nice to look at for that reason. So,
And I guess like an adjacent thing when it comes to how it is to look at. I know earlier you guessed that it was nominated for editing, and I was going to say I did really like the editing. I feel like it's very deliberate and like sharp where it needs to be.
that's sharp is a good way to like describe the style of this, and I think that's because it is this like stainless steel, clean cut kitchen. And yeah, I think it was just more that I could just tell there was like effort and thought put into it, where I don't feel that way with a lot of movies.
Matt's big complaint recently on the podcast is that a lot of movies don't have texture and they just look like a Jared commercial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a lot of movies, a lot of like cheaply made ones, just they all look exactly the same. They look like any commercial I could see on TV. And then we watched something like Seven the other week, and it's like,
Gritty
obviously
as fuck.
that movie, you clearly have to be a master of your craft to make that, but it's like grimy. There's like feel and texture, and there's like a actual distinct style to it. And this one does have distinct style. It is a clean style, but that's fine.
It works with what they're doing.
Yes, very much so. So, and I really noticed that more this time than other watches, probably because I've watched some bad movies recently.
And without breaking down into like what this movie means, Casey, like off the bat, what did you feel like you liked?
I mean, to be frank, I don't like the genre of horror. So in terms of like it strictly being a movie I would watch for this podcast, I liked that they incorporated comedy. I liked that there were actually like characters to root for. I think that can be like unique characters can be missing for me in the very few horror movies I've seen.
I agree with you. You're correct.
They can be archetypes. So like I thought Anya's character was interesting.
Yeah, I feel like they do have archetypes, but like they're used deliberately to say something, so it works. And then yeah, like you said, I feel like Anya actually has a lot of layers to her.
You also you have a bad guy to root for because he's the same. He's cut from the same cloth as our protagonist, right? They're both service workers.
Yeah.
Which I'm not to get ahead, but I love that I love this movie's portrayal and how they treat sex workers. I think it's awesome, especially where movies very often like vilify sex workers when they basically like, no, you're no different from any other service profession. Like you're no different from a waiter. Like you are blue collar in our eyes, and I think that's awesome.
Well, there's
I
even
really appreciate that.
a scene where he like asks her about her
provider of how
provider
she
provides her services, and he said, I'm trying to find the exact quote. He says, "I don't need details. I know what a bad customer is. Do you enjoy providing your services?" And then he keeps going, but he's very much like, I don't care what you do. Like, you are providing a service, and that is what
That's the same thing
aligns
I do.
us. Like, it does,
Solidarity among workers. And I think that's what you're saying, though, is she's a very interesting character because of that. We don't see that in movies a lot, and I think it makes both of them, you can root for the bad guy in this. It's, like, easy to root for both of them, even though they're, like, up against each other.
Yeah, and she's kind of, like, peeled away slowly. Like, we know, or at least sense from the beginning, that she's giving a fake name, but we don't know why. So that was nice. I'm trying to think.
At what point did you figure out that she was a sex worker?
When she was on the tortilla.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, she was on the tortilla with the other guest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was trying to
when
think
I
of
did.
when I remembered, and
I just remember being excited about it, and I was like, oh, this is actually, like, a really clever way to go about this.
Uh-huh.
And then that reveal that Nicholas Holt's character knew she was going to die. Like, he is so despicable.
That I didn't expect at all.
Psycho Chi Good?
Yeah.
It's a great twist.
That one I didn't see coming.
He's a piece of shit. Tyler's bullshit.
I was very impressed by him. I mean, obviously, like, I wrote down, something that also really makes this movie work is that Ralph Fiennes just takes it so seriously. Mm-hmm. Like, he completely takes it, it's not tongue-in-cheek. He is taking this role completely at face value is what it is, and that, like, makes it work. And it makes it even funnier, to be honest. Like, he's playing this, like, psycho straight man.
He is so fucking charismatic. I love this man. I love this man. If you haven't seen it, go watch Grand Budapest Hotel, because
you finally get to see him be a leading man.
Yeah, and he deserves it. I mean, he is in, like...
Preston loves that movie, right?
Yeah, he does.
I love that movie, too.
It's so good.
No, that's things that I was just thinking was I really enjoy him. Performances are good.
What
do you like, Hannah?
There's one line that he improvised that I think is really funny. I guess they would do, like, the take, and once the director was like, we definitely have the take as written, he'd be like, okay, let's, like, fuck around, and then they would do a take where they could all improvise. And so Ralph Fiennes, when he's describing tacos, and he goes, Taco Tuesday, and, like, does a weird little shimmy motion all that, that's improvised. Yeah.
It's funny.
Which is, like,
great.
One of the few moments where he gets to do something actually kind of goofy that's not totally straight man. Yeah.
All right, I have one other big thing I like that I'm going to, and then I can let you guys talk about what you like. I appreciate that this movie it avoids the pitfalls of a lot of similar horror movies by actually just having it all take place in the kitchen. Other than one scene where it tricks you into being like, oh, we're going to go into the normal, like, horror movie, like, where the men get hunted. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's more played for a joke. They're all immediately captured and brought back in, not killed. It never turns into, like, a slasher. It never turns into something it's not. It really commits to the bit.
Yeah.
It commits. Does. And it makes a very compelling, intense, and, like, fun and funny story all really just within this kitchen. I think that's impressive and, like, sign of a good screenplay.
I really like movies that it kind of can be set in, like, one place, one timeline, without, like, gaps. And, like, the fact that this is just happening over one dinner. There's no pause. Like, we see from just the dinner from start to finish. Pretty much, yeah. Mm-hmm. I do love that.
Anything else, Casey?
No, I was just trying to think of what that's called when you do, like, a TV show episode. A bottle.
I got you. Yeah, it's all okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think. No, yeah, I liked the comedy that was incorporated. I like it's not a mystery, but I like that there were some things that weren't obvious from the beginning. Mm-hmm.
It definitely plays with your preconceived notions and expectations of horror movies, which I think makes it definitely stand out.
And I think, at least for me, I don't know if other people, like, catch on earlier, but, like, I caught on that, like, the guests were going to die. I definitely didn't expect that, like, they were going to go down with the ship. Like, I didn't think the staff was going to die, so...
Makes you root for them more.
A number of plot twists, yeah.
Yeah, you really don't know until R.A.P. Jeremy.
That's an insane moment, too. Because you know something's going to happen, and then just pulls the gun.
I feel like that's the first twist that you're actually like, what the fuck? Yeah.
So is there anything else particularly that you really want to talk about that stands out?
Well, I just think this movie, I think the screenplay is really well done. I think this movie kind of wears what it's saying on its sleeve because, Chef literally comes out and says it word for word. So I wrote a lot of quotes down, but I think that's kind of nice sometimes because it means it's more accessible. And I feel like a lot of horror movies get kind of douchey and either doesn't tell you what it's trying to say, and then the director comes out and will be like, it's up for your interpretation. I don't know what it's saying. Stop motion, Robert Morgan.
Call him out.
I mean, it's so fucking obnoxious. I hate that for him. So yeah, I do kind of like that this movie has a very poignant message and is fucking telling you it and kind of shoving it in your face, but also doing it in a way that is very funny and compelling, and you're with it. I can't imagine watching this movie and not siding with him in some way. Maybe you're not murder people.
Yeah, he's
murder
compelling.
People, but it's just so compelling, what he's trying to do.
And so is she. And like I said, they're not that different.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think that's a good segue into some dislikes, because I do think where this movie kind of falters is because it is so obvious, and because it felt like it was piggybacking off of a trend at the time of eat the rich comedy or eat the rich horror, and it just doesn't nail it the same way something like Parasite or even Knives Out does. It's fine. It's good, but...
I was going to say, I feel like it was really billed, at least by HBO, because they also had Parasite on as, if you like Parasite, you'll love this. It definitely doesn't stand up to Parasite.
No.
Not at all. But... and that's the issue, is maybe I shouldn't try to compare it, but it is trying to do something similar.
Yeah.
And I will say, I kind of find some of these Eat the Rich movies, outside of Parasite, because I do think... Bong Joon, what's his full name? I was forgetting. Yes, he has a different experience because South Korea is different from the U.S. But I do kind of find it a little bit goofy when a bunch of rich people are making a movie about how rich people bad.
Yeah.
Even Rian Johnson with Knives Out, even though I love it, it is kind of rich people bad, side with us.
Yeah.
Don't kill us when the revolution happens. We're on your side. And that, it's a little disingenuous.
I'd also disagree. I feel the forcing art to become inaccessible based on what patrons want and putting more and more money at it until it's removed from what it started as. That's maybe a message I can understand, but I wouldn't say I empathize with the staff I just wouldn't say that, period. Especially because a lot of I don't feel like any of the patrons are really that bad, except for
for sure.
her date.
Correct. You're correct. He is petty, and I think that's kind of the play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's fine. You aren't exactly supposed to agree with him, but you're supposed to, at least how I take it, be yeah, there is... Money does corrupt and fuck things up, and we know that, and it ruins art. We see it in the movie industry all the time. David Zaslav of the Warner Brothers, I'm in your walls, but release Coyote versus Acme. That's a whole side story. We'll tell you about it after.
Okay.
But yeah, and I think I agree with that. Maybe this one doesn't hit as hard either in that aspect, as they aren't that despicable compared to the families in Parasite. Family in Parasite, I should say, the rich family in Parasite. They're pretty awful.
They're definitely
the family in
not.
Knives Out are really awful.
Yeah, they're certainly not that despicable, but I do kind of like that each subsect of the diners kind of stand for something different in his ruin,
yes.
or that is wrong within our society, especially when it comes to fine dining, since that's specifically what this is commenting on, but...
And we're already transitioning to themes, so do you want to talk about things you don't like, or can I just keep rolling with this?
We can... There's nothing I really don't like, to be honest. I really like this movie. I find few flaws in it, because even though I understand what you guys are saying, yeah, it's a movie.
Oh, for sure.
I'm vibing.
Vibes are number one priority in film.
And this has the...
And art. And actually, art in general. Vibes is number one.
This has the sauce.
I mean, think about it. Everything below.
Right.
Vibes. Then there's plenty of other categories. So, I wanted to continue on the thought of if we don't read this as an Eat the Rich movie, because I don't think it's... I think it's kind of boring to read it that way, but it's would be better to read it as the, like, Killing of Passion movie.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I think it really succeeds there, and maybe we have failed by lumping it into that Eat the Rich, but I can't help it because it came out around that time.
I do think in ways that is an Eat the Rich, but not all of their problems are that they're rich. Like,
Yes.
not every patron there is a problem because of their financial status. Like, that is not why Tyler is there.
I think fine dining only exists for the rich.
For the rich, yeah.
For sure.
That's true. But, yeah.
But I guess it's more about the death of passion and the exclusion of art to the masses. And, like, you see that across the board right now, especially with, like, concert tickets are obscenely expensive, and that's partially on the artist, partially on Ticketmaster. Fuck you. And then you also look at, we've talked about, like, Broadway is almost inaccessible for 90% of the country, partially because of cost, partially because of location, and for whatever reason they refuse to film and put it anywhere. Mm-hmm. So, like, I completely agree with him in that sentiment. Like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, art should be for everybody. Right? Even a theater ticket's $20.
Yeah.
Like, I get it because I want to keep the theaters alive, but like, I don't know. What do you think? You see anything else that plays into that? I mean, a lot of it does, right?
I think so much of it plays into it. That's why I kind of earlier when I mentioned kind of breaking it down by the dishes.
I already forgot about that.
Because I do think that they're all kind of
well, then take over. Let's do that.
to like a different part of that overall message. So
why'd you let me ramble like that? Then I forgot.
I don't know. You felt like you were on one.
I was on one. No, I could have done better. All right, let's go back. Start over. Let's do dishes.
Okay.
In case you jump in, don't let me just word vomit.
Because he will. I'm going to go through all of them, whether or not I have like an immediate thought or commentary on it, and we can just kind of go for if we see a meaning with it and what that would be. So the first thing that they are served when they get on the boat is the lemon caviar served on a raw oyster with mignonette. We don't get an explanation from chef as to what this food means, and it's the only thing in the film that doesn't get any sort of like explanation, I feel.
Do you see anything? Because to me, I just feel like it's trying to lure us into a false sense of security.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know
partially
anything
I
about
think
oysters.
it's just kind of like, here is a cool dish that is not just an oyster. But I do think it's kind of symbolic that, I mean, Anya Taylor-Joy makes some comment about it, like, no, I just like a normal oyster. And Tyler's like, bitch, look at all of this shit that was on this oyster.
Yeah.
You know what? I agree with Tyler in that moment. Eat the goddamn oyster.
Well, he's also saying, like, please don't smoke. It will kill your palate.
Oh, I don't
and
agree
all of
with
that
him there.
before that, too, which
Yeah.
is so funny.
That's me when you're playing on your phone during a movie. And I'm like, pay attention. You're missing the best parts.
Maybe you do agree with Tyler.
Maybe I need, like,
Maybe you should
Spielberg
shut the fuck up.
to have me film something and then shit on me. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you should start shutting the fuck up when I touch my phone during a movie so you don't Tyler yourself. Also in this part of the movie, again, doesn't have to deal with the food, but Tyler is like criticizing other people who get on the boat. And it's like, apparently he's a foodie, or he thinks he is.
Oh, yeah, he thinks he's better. I'm realizing that by having a horror movie podcast, we are Tyler. And it's not great. Because we talk about movies like we could make them, but we couldn't.
I craft.
Yeah.
I'm an artist.
It's okay.
No.
We are Tyler. That's all right. There's a lot of Tylers.
I hate that for us.
Yep.
I feel like I'd like to end this episode now, please.
All right, here's with a nice dish.
The amuse-bouche.
Is that the bread?
No.
Unaccompanied. Oh, never mind. The lack of bread.
It is like the small bite-sized treat made of cucumber melon, milk snow, and charred lace. An amuse-bouche, for your reference, is a dish that is traditionally not ordered by patrons, but instead served, depending solely on the chef's selection.
I don't think it's different from the oysters. Just like fairly standard fancy food.
Just something douchey for your fine dining restaurant.
Yeah.
That was the one that connected them to the island, though, right?
No.
Oh, that wasn't? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm lost then.
The next
The
one
restaurant
is the
critic
island.
mentions, like, everything has snow nowadays. Like, I feel like you always have, like, trends in the food space. But...
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Another example of his passion being killed by a critic being like, oh, you're just doing it for the trend. Like,
Yeah.
or trends forcing him to go in a certain direction.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I think it's a good read, friends. The first official course is the island. It includes seaweed, raw scallop. I don't know what else it includes because I don't have it listed here, but every ingredient comes from the island itself, including like there's like a salt water on it that melts throughout the dish and flavors the dish as you eat it. Some like especially douchey shit that is definitely something I'd be intrigued
I was just
by
about
and
to
order.
say, like, this dish would totally get me. I love this. And I know it's, like, supposed to be absurd and ridiculous. I love it, though. Like, everything's from the island. It's, like, a combination.
It's served, like, on a rock.
Yeah, it's on a rock
Yeah.
with, like, little weeds from the island. Oh, my God. No, this would totally work on me. It's actually really
100%.
bad how I am the patron. We all are, right? We're all the patrons. We watch the movie. We consume art. Like...
Are we seeing anything more specific than that?
Oh, it's probably about their ties to the island and their ecosystem as
Yeah,
like
I was gonna
chefs.
say that. Yeah, since they all like live on the island, they don't leave the island and like.
And that's about being tied to your craft as well.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying, Casey? Know
Sure.
what I mean? No, I was trying to bring you in. Got any thoughts? No.
I feel like this
No,
one's
I don't
less...
know that there's that much meaning in, like, each dish as much as, like...
I think moving forward is
There will
where
be.
there's a lot more deliberate meaning. I think the first couple kind of ramp you up into it with like these things are douchey fine dining things that like the average restaurant goer does not have access to and will not be ordering or eating or appreciating.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like very few people would like very genuinely appreciate that or like the science of it or anything. Beyond like the rich people are just like, okay, cool. And
I would. I'm tired.
and then we're just like, that's super cool,
No,
but like I don't get
but-
it. Like I don't know.
I'm saying I think it ties though to the overall like island and how they all live there. And if you want to commit yourself to some kind of craft, like you basically are putting yourself on an island from everything else. You're becoming like that craft, and that's like the beginning stages, I guess, of someone completely losing their passion for something. Is like once you can have a passion for something, once you try to make money off of it, that's usually when that like starts to get crushed.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? Once you try it, because you have to really live and breathe it. But
When
go
I-
ahead. Oh, sorry. Casey.
I think once you cross from the amuse-bouche to, like, the seafood course, then they're introducing, like, we're actually, like, we're making a comedy here. Like, I have not been to a Michelin star restaurant, but I don't think there would
They're
ever
serving
be a
things on
rock
rocks.
on your plate. Like, I think that's where you
Yeah.
detour. Like, the first two you would legitimately eat. Like,
Mhm.
fine
You're right. They're making fun of them
Yeah.
at that point. Even
Yeah.
though I said this would totally work for me, and I would be made fun of.
Well, maybe
Yes.
like on the menu when you're seeing like it's all seafood from the island, but like yeah, when it's served to you
On a rock.
Aha.
This
Yeah.
movie's funny.
So the next course is the breadless bread plate.
This is also very fun.
I fucking love the breadless bread plate.
This would not work on me. I'd be pissed about this one too. So
Yeah.
again, I am the audience. We suck. Or I suck.
But they do explain very specifically that bread and grain are the food of the impoverished throughout history. And so
By being able to afford to come here.
you are not, quote, you are not the common man, so you get no bread.
I do love the commentary on that. And it makes sense. I guess the point is he has become so famous to the point where the common man can't even eat his food.
Mm-hmm.
For reasons of being saved by his benefactor and everything, like, but basically, like, and I'm sure he's pissed about that, as we know, right? So it's like definitely just a shot at I wish I could be serving. I mean, he could be. That's kind of where he's a hypocrite. He definitely could be serving people,
Yeah.
poor
Right.
people, if he wanted. But that's how he feels: is I have to serve this when you guys have gate kept this from everyone else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it very much is showing his disdain for his guests, like, fuck you, rich people. You don't deserve bread.
Yeah, no, it's exactly.
The breadless bread plate so much. It's so funny. I also love where the critic lady is bitching about how she has a broken emulsion. And so then they bring her out just a bowl of broken emulsion like twice throughout the rest of the movie. I think that's so funny. Because again, it's like...
Ozark?
No, I haven't.
She's great on Ozark. The critic.
Mm-hmm. I want to watch Ozark, and I've been
my mom
avoiding it
watched
for
it.
so long for no reason.
It's very intense, but...
we like that.
Yeah, it looks
gory,
great.
I would say.
Gory.
It gives like...
For a Netflix show?
It gives Breaking Bad with Jason Bateman.
Sure.
Is what it's giving.
That's what I've been
without
told.
Me having watched it.
I do like Breaking Bad. We have more dishes. The Brothers Bread, he tells us exactly, but it is so funny still.
The next dish is memory. This is the chicken tacos with the scissors in it and served with tortillas.
Well, we know the tortillas have all of their misdoing or bad doings on them, whatever we call that. Mm-hmm. Or a bunch of different things, but it's specifically related to his abusive father, right?
Yeah, it's related to his abusive father and also how his mother didn't essentially, like, stand up for them. And that's why I think she's involved in the whole thing, because he's like, fuck you for being a shitty mom, not helping against the abuse, and, like, what was I to do as a child? All I was able to do was stab him in the chicken thigh, in the thigh.
So beyond that, though, are we going to interpret that the reason he is the way he is, the reason he like dove into this world of like cooking was to get away from that or to like repress that? Is that?
Yeah, I don't really see his like personal anecdotes. I feel like I'm not sure of the connection to like his like losing his passion and all of that. Like I don't know why those come in really.
I haven't thought about that before until you brought up the dish.
Yeah, I honestly, besides getting that far, I feel like I haven't thought too specifically about it besides that. Well, I feel like his parents clearly haven't been appreciative of his passion or his talent or his skills either.
Yeah, mom's drunk at the table.
Mom is literally drunk at this beautiful meal that he has prepared.
And dad probably didn't really care about them in the first place.
Yeah, strangling mom with a telephone wire, which, by the way, is what the chicken thigh is served on. Which
it's served on a telephone wire?
It's served on, like, the cord from, like, your
I
house
didn't
phone.
notice that.
Yeah.
This movie's crazy.
Yeah.
Good on the prop department.
Yeah, so good.
That's the only way I could interpret that one, though, is that, like, he dove into this craft to, you know, escape from.
Yeah. And then, obviously, the tortillas are basically showing each guest why they were chosen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I love. And they all represent
what are these?
Why he lost
tortillas.
Yes. They all represent why he lost his love for his craft. The next course is...
Although certain people are entirely left out. Like the wife of the...
I do feel like they throw her in kind of later when he asks them, like, what have you been served here?
Yeah.
And she can't even neither of them can fucking say anything, and she's
It's
even trying to help.
It's that the wife has been there multiple times. Like most people can never afford to go once, but they're really the rich ones that we're complaining about. So like every person is like kind of a different thing. The fucking douchebags represent the company that owns them, right? So that's part of it, and like how they think they can walk on anybody.
The like assistant to the movie star.
Oh, they even make fun of that though, right? Like she doesn't deserve to be there at all.
Yeah.
He is just petty a little bit.
He is definitely just petty. She definitely deserves to be there a lot less than everyone else in the room.
But he doesn't even know why she should be here. She's just there because she got invited.
There because she's
the
date. But she's been stealing from John Leguizamo and stuff too. Like they do admit. And when she's talking about her new job, she can't describe what she's actually doing, like whatsoever. Like she's just taken a position for money and status. Which yes, does that mean you should die? No, but I think it does contribute to his overall beef. With
I was gonna say Fiennes doesn't know any of this though, and that is kind of like
well, he clearly knows a lot. He's got all of these prostitute photos and
some
stuff.
Of these people aren't even on the. They don't get a tortilla.
Do they not?
Yeah, we don't see her tortilla if she has a specific
or one for the wife.
tortilla. We don't
Wait, who are you
see
talking about?
wife.
No, yeah, Margot doesn't get one because they didn't know she was coming.
And we don't get we were talking about the producer lady.
Yeah, sorry.
Brown.
The assistant.
Assistant doesn't
she
get
doesn't
her own
get one.
specific
She's just
tortilla
tied to
that we
him.
And then
see.
the wife of the man who hired.
Yeah, hers is just that her husband was cheating on her and
Yeah.
coming here. Yeah, that was.
Well,
hers.
but I feel like that like embarrasses him.
But not her.
It doesn't
Yeah,
embarrass her.
you're correct. I think that was. I don't know.
There's holes.
There's holes. There's definitely. That's the point, though. There's holes in Ray Fiennes' plan.
his
He
logic,
is
yeah.
like.
I mean, you shouldn't murder people.
Unless they really deserve it.
Well, yeah, but I think sure, but yeah, I think you're not supposed to fully, as much as you're like, yeah, like in some regard you're right. You don't fully root for him, and like you wouldn't root for him in real life because there is plenty of holes.
And I'm saying they point out the whole the holes in his logic when she's like, "Why do I have to die?" And he's like, "Where did you go to school?" And she's like, "Brown." Do you have student loans? No. He's like, "Sorry, you're dying."
I forgot about that part.
That's my favorite line in this movie.
Yeah, and it's
Do
very
student
clear that he
loans?
is just
No.
like his logic is flawed, but that's like why it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So. All right, next one.
The mess.
It's just about the pressure, right?
Yeah, I think this one, they say pretty explicitly what it means, the pursuit of culinary perfection to please strangers.
Doesn't the movie say all of these? Because doesn't he give a speech explaining all of them?
Yeah.
So why are we explaining all of them?
Some of them he doesn't explain
Okay.
this deliberately.
Sure.
But yeah, this one they very much come out and say it being a chef basically makes a mess of your mind, body, and sanity.
And life outside of it.
He direct quote was mind, body, and sanity is what he said. I didn't write down the rest of the quote. But yeah, so R.A.P. Jeremy.
Yeah.
And it does say that on the title card.
Yeah.
Or the
I do
meal
love
card.
the title cards for all the meal cards. All right. I know the next one too. I can be quick with this one. You guys will like this one?
Well,
As
the
women?
next is the palate cleanser.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
So it's the tea, and this is where Mr. Man gets drowned. Yeah, this is where, during the palate cleanser section of the evening, is where they kill Doug Barrett. Which I think is interesting, like, they're getting a little break with their palate cleanser, which is what a palate cleanser is, because no one in the room is being directly assaulted. And they're killing
So their
someone
break
outside
is
the
someone
room.
else dying? That's funny.
Yeah, it's kind of how I saw it. I think it's very funny. Yeah.
The angel investor.
Yup. So, and he, like, obviously gives a lot of shit to Doug for basically, like, not giving him as much creative control as he feels like he deserves, and...
That's the money that ruins passion.
Yes.
There you go. Or vulture capitalists. I know all about those.
I think this is also the moment in the movie where he tells everyone that they are also going to die. And he uses the quote, "Think of yourself as ingredients in a tasting concept."
Can I say the kill here is actually, I think, one of my favorites because it made me the most uncomfortable. I really was upset.
With the investor.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part of the movie that makes me the most
And that's not even
uncomfortable.
gory.
I didn't
It's
like
just
it
like,
at all.
yeah, it really gets under my skin.
Like
That's the point. But
slow. Yeah, it's like a little slower than the other ones. And it's like torture.
yeah, and them just watching.
That
Just
is
lowered
not
into
the
the
one
water.
that bothers me the most.
Yeah, I think drowning's a big fear of mine, though. So
Yeah.
That's not one of my ways that I dread dying. I think that one, the one that bothers me the most, we will get to.
Okay.
And we will discuss. I think in this section of the movie, just because we're, kind of piecing through the movie, this is where we also kind of go through the individuals a little bit more as well. And this is where he does talk to like the food critic and basically how she's caused damage to other people, and then her companion that she's there with enables it.
he's the magazine
They both
producer.
have this huge fucking ego.
Yeah.
And then also the regulars who can't identify what they've eaten, and they clearly don't appreciate his art enough to have been there, despite spending how much fucking money on it.
They're just there for status.
Yep. And he says food is designed to satisfy, or his food is designed to satisfy people who can't be satisfied. which is very on the nose of like what this movie means. Also, there's where all the people are trying to like get out and all that shit, and they try and like throw shit at the door.
Sure.
Or at the like glass, and it just bounces off. One of them, the stock guys, says, "We have money, just say how much and we'll give it to you." Which is, again, like, that is not what this is about, you stupid fucks. And Chef Slobic has to respond literally like, "I don't want your money, and shut the fuck up and sit down." And that's when he gets dragged back to his seat to continue. We love it. Okay, the next dish is Man's Folly.
This is about women in the workplace, and specifically in creative fields where women are probably less respected or are forced to work under
pretentious men.
Yep. And that's, I mean, that's definitely just something we see a lot. So the men have to go run around and get caught while the women get their nice dish. It's a little bit of reparations for them.
Yep.
You know? You see anything else with that one?
Or I was going to say not just less respected, but like experience like a lot lot of sexual harassment and like, yeah, creative
to get where they want to be.
Well, creative fields and the restaurant industry, I think.
Oh, see, is that true? I don't know.
I think it's supposed to
I've heard
I wouldn't be surprised. I was just thinking about, creatively. I mean, even if I relate it to movies, like we know actresses get exploited.
Yeah,
although men do too, I'm sure at varying rates. I think women way more.
Well, that's like, even when I was saying earlier, the female chef that they consulted with for this movie is the only three Michelin star holder female in this country. So I think even that, like, putting that in context of this, like, women aren't getting the space and respect to rise up in the craft the same way men are.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, so the next dish served to everyone. Well, not really served to everyone, but that gets a title card. Is Tyler's bullshit.
Okay, so we can just talk about Tyler here. And, like, why I want to talk about, like, why he's there.
This one, I'll just say, this one fucking bugs me so much. This is the one that makes me sick.
Yeah, Hannah can't watch the movie at this point. She has to, this is your hide.
I didn't hide, but it really bothers me. And I don't know why, because obviously, like, he is a piece of shit. I think it's his facial expressions, because he's acting the shit out of this scene, and it gives me really bad secondhand embarrassment. You still haven't described
what gives you the embarrassment. Like, what's going on in the scene?
Oh, the scene? Well, this is when Tyler gets called out for being a cook, not a chef, and he goes up, and chef makes him make a meal, and he fucks it up, and then chef whispers in his ear.
And then he kills himself.
And then he dies by suicide, by hanging. So clearly, like, we don't know what was said to Tyler, but clearly something about how disappointed he is in him, and, like, ultimately the humiliation leads to his suicide. But yeah, the performance just gives me the ick so bad, it makes me so secondhand embarrassed. Yeah, but, like, in terms of what it means, like, obviously, first, he was willing to die and allow other people to die so he himself could get an exclusive dining experience, which is beyond fucked. But
this dude's crazier than Ray Fiennes in this movie.
Right.
Yeah, literally. But also that despite his passion and interest, he hasn't actually understood the actual art of cooking. Like, yeah, he knows these things go in there with butter, but he doesn't actually understand the love that goes into it.
Or the study that goes into it. Or the
study that actually goes into it,
work ethic that goes into it.
Yeah,
and that's
just
why I'm
because
saying,
you know a thing doesn't mean you'll be good at the thing.
And that's why I'm saying that we're Tyler by being movie podcast critics.
I understand.
And we
what
are.
You meant.
Like, I would say we're a little bit better than he is, but there are a lot of Tylers out there that will complain about it. Basically tell everyone in their passion that, oh, this is how you should be doing it. Or this is like what the experts say you should be doing, but they don't actually create anything themselves. And that's Tyler.
And Chef directly says, "You are why the mystery has been drained from our art."
Is that the people on YouTube that make 16-hour video essays on a 2-hour movie?
Probably.
To do the ending explained and write every article on it? Is that? That's a lot. That's
Damn,
that's my
also
reach.
shitting on us. We've made TikToks explaining the ending of
Yeah,
stuff.
but that's just because it does
I feel
well.
like his having to photograph the food is important too, especially like in this day and age. Like,
good point.
If you're, I feel like when and restaurants specifically, like you have influencers going in and taking and sharing pictures, and then like it becomes important to go there so that you can get that picture, and like the price, the cost of attending these places is going up, and it doesn't actually matter like what you're being served. It doesn't matter if it's made with love or not, because people just want like the status of being there.
Yeah, it's definitely like the meal, which like food is supposed to be for sustenance, and also like, yeah, it should be enjoyed, but for him it's just like this symbol of status of all, if he's just taking fucking pictures and posting them.
Yeah. I mean, historically, what food are for three things, as you said, like sustenance, enjoyment, and camaraderie, family, right? Like community. Mm-hmm. And you're ruining all of those.
Yup.
All right.
Tyler's
keep moving.
bullshit.
The Hannah Horror Hour's at an hour already,
Oh,
so.
fuck me. Okay. The next would be the supplemental course of a cheeseburger.
Oh, okay, perfect. I really wanted to talk about this, so.
Go for it.
Because we have at least one friend listening that I know doesn't like the ending of this movie.
Who's that?
I'm not going to call them out. I'm not. Well, I'll tell you after.
Whisper it.
They listen.
Uh-oh. Okay.
So, and Casey, I want your opinion on this. First of all, do you like the ending? Do you like her getting away?
Yes.
Okay. And you think it's earned and deserved that she gets away?
Yes, because she doesn't get away because she wasn't supposed to be there. Which I feel like you could argue in and of itself, like, maybe is why she should get away. But she, like, came up with, like, she realized when she was in his room, like, okay, he used to love cooking, and, like, that's what's missing. That's what's wrong with him now. And she sort of, like, gets him to think of that. And then also, like, asks for the to-go bag, which is maybe just clever. But, like, I think she deserves it.
Yeah, she's the only one actually expressing true appreciation for anything he's made. Also, I think it's significant this is the only thing we actually see him make throughout the movie.
Mark me down with the assist on that one, because that's exactly what I was going to say. So,
and I don't think, no, I don't know. I was going to say, do chefs actually touch anything in, like, a real kitchen?
Only thing I know about chefs is from The Bear, so maybe.
Okay, I thought they just, like, sort of oversaw what was plated.
When they create the dishes and then other people make them.
Yeah.
But I was going to say the same thing, is that it's like, she helps him rediscover his, like, passion and love, and for that she gets to live and escape.
Yeah.
Also, it's hilarious. That, like, really helps. It's, like, actually a very... They stick the landing with this movie so hard by killing everybody and not letting them get away, but by having her escape in the funniest yet the most real feeling way possible. Of being like, he loves to cook. He really, loved to cook.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And he could not go without her not having that hamburger. And especially was like, you need to eat my food. You took one bite. Like, you better get out of here so you can at least eat this, like, last thing I put love into.
And there were, like, whether it was, like, necessary or not, a little melodramatic, like, he had, like, tears in his eyes.
It was
when
definitely
she
necessary.
said that, like, she was starving. Mm-hmm. Like, it bothered him so much for her to say that, like, she was hungry still.
And, it's such a good performance, because I loved it. It's very necessary, I think, for him to have the tears.
And his facial expression
when she likes
the burger is so cute.
She doesn't even say it's good. She just says, that's a cheeseburger. He's like, crying.
Yeah, he's so pleased that someone finally enjoys something he's put out. Oh, it's so good.
The ending, I think it rocks. And, like, very much, it really, the music in this movie is great. The way it, like, swells up. It's, like, this weird happy ending for him, too, because even though he's still going to go through with it, like, he does, at least for that moment, remember why he loves this.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it doesn't save all of them, because I'm really happy this movie commits to killing everybody. I think that's really funny and fun.
And not a lot of, movies fully commit.
Has the balls to do it, you know? But But yeah, I love the cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And just takes one bite and goes, can I get this to go?
My
and
eyes,
he's just like,
it appears my eyes were bigger than my stomach. Yeah.
And of course he's like, yeah, you can take that to go. Like, get out of here.
I did, and I let Hannah know that I already liked the rich woman because the actress is from Law & Order SVU. But I did think it was interesting, and I don't know if it's supposed to mean anything. It was just like a quick thing, but that Anya Taylor-Joy like sort of looks back at her and like she sort of like gives her permission to go by like gesturing with her hand. Like, I feel like, I don't know, that was just like a weird little thing to add because it's like, she didn't deserve to die.
Yeah.
But
I also think that that's her obviously acknowledging that, like,
she deserved to die less than any of the rest of them.
Yeah.
Maybe. I also think she's in a weird spot finding her husband cheated on her.
Well, and she thinks that Anya Taylor-Joy looks like her daughter.
True.
Well, that's why he hired her too, which is all like a disgusting little detail.
I was going to say, and on top of that, there are a bunch of people at the end when he says, I love you all before burning them, and they all go, we love you, chef. There are multiple patrons that say it as well.
They've like changed their mind right at that last line.
And they're like, yeah, we agree with you. Or like, is it just that he's so charismatic, such a good cult leader that they're like, yeah, we'll die for you. Or are they just like in their last moments, just like I don't know. They don't know what else to do.
Like a really rapid onset Stockholm syndrome.
It just makes for an awesome scene.
It makes for a great scene.
It's like emotional.
First, yeah. But I do think all of the patrons, like at this point, they've fully accepted that they're going to die. And I think a lot of them, like they've come to terms with some of the shitty things they've done, whether that makes them worthy of this serial murder, that's different. But, I think even, like, the assistant is very much, like, resigned to, like, I'm going to die, and she does admit to, like, some of the shitty things that she's done, like, by this point in the film. So I do think a lot of them are, like, repenting for their sins, and they're like, all right, I'm ready. Yes, chef.
I think it also just makes, because the culmination of that is the climax is so good of them.
So the climax as the final...
Oh, sorry, yeah,
the final meal, the final dish. Human s'mores.
Which was what? Chocolate, marshmallow, graham cracker, staff, guests, restaurant.
Yeah, I loved that.
I feel like it makes it, like, less painful to watch, too. Like, I feel like part of the reason that the angel investor drowning is painful to watch is because, you know, like, the Fiennes is sort of, like, instructing you to, like, listen to him, like, beg for his life. Like, that's so uncomfortable. And then having, like, all of these people be like, okay, like, let's do this.
They're all crying, but they're all like, we love you, chef.
Then, like, it brings, like, some levity to it. So
and
it's...
maybe
also
maybe
their
they're
little
buying
hats.
in. Their little chocolate
hats help with the
melting down their
levity
faces.
as well.
This movie's fucked up. That is a really impressive set piece at the end. Just to, like, be this ridiculous but emotionally impactful at the same time.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, I'm also sitting there like, we love you, chef. Like, because maybe it's him. He's just so good. And, like, it's easy to just buy in. And maybe they all kind of see a little bit in what he was talking about. I'm sure they don't want to die, but they're resigned to it at this point.
You represent the ruin of my art and my life, and now you get to be part of it. And here they are.
Oh, thank God for Ray Fiennes. For real, you know?
I love him so much.
I'm very blessed we get to be in the timeline with him. Makes me want to watch Grand Budapest, though.
Makes me
Can we get
want to
another
watch
movie?
Goblet of Fire just for that, the first Voldemort reveal scene. He's so fucking good in that scene. Oh shit. But yeah, Grand Budapest for sure.
I want more Ray Fiennes playing the leading man because it was so fun in Grand Budapest. And you get obviously he's the bad guy in this, but you get a little bit of the charisma here, and it's like, let me root for him again.
Yeah.
Like, he's awesome. He's really funny and talented.
I root for him in anything.
I know, that's probably why they cast him.
Yeah.
Typecast. He's always a bad guy, though, I feel like, except for Grand Budapest.
I haven't seen Schindler's List. Is he a really bad guy in that?
I'm pretty sure. I haven't seen either.
Nazi?
In Bruges, he's a bad guy.
Poor buddy.
Well, All right, I think we hit the themes on it, but the main thing is that she helps him rediscover the passion, and that's why she gets to live. So that's why the ending's good. And for the people that think that she shouldn't have gotten out, you want a worse movie. You want just a movie that's not as good. So you're Tyler. Fuck you.
I mean, he literally quotes MLK and says, "Freedom is never given voluntarily by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed."
Yeah, but then they'll make fun of him for.
I was gonna say that's
MLK.
crazy.
That's crazy. But he then is like, "She's demanded her freedom, and now I will let her go." I mean, that quote has to be there for someone.
Ask for their freedom.
No, the quote is there because he's insane.
Yeah, that too.
To think he's
I know.
an
I just
MLK
thought it
level.
was really funny. Imagine comparing yourself to MLK
Overall,
when you're killing people.
this movie is just very fun. Whether all the themes like work or not, it's like a very fun time, and like I enjoyed it.
Well, we've definitely
recommend
gone pretty far over, so let's just do favorite scenes and then
rate
ratings.
it. Cool. In case you have a favorite scene, or do you need to think?
Yeah, let me think.
I have a favorite scene.
Go for it.
Tyler's bullshit.
Nope. Least favorite.
It is so funny. I'm sorry. There's a lot of scenes I really like, but I just have to say, like, at every moment after calling him up to then being like, this is bad. Mm-hmm. And obviously the title card where it says Tyler's bullshit, undercooked lamb, inedible garlic butter and leek sauce.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm gonna just say every fucking title card and also the very brief few seconds of what school did you go to? Brown. I'm sorry, you're dying.
Yeah. Good scenes. Casey, sorry.
I think I'd say the moment we were just talking about, starting with like when Anya Taylor-Joy's face like lights up because she has an idea, and then like her basically telling the chef that she's hungry and he like hasn't satisfied her.
That's objectively the right answer.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just had to put. You're totally right. The craft and care of the filmmaking, showing him putting the burger together too, is just
I also thought,
so good.
like seeing the tortillas was good.
I do love the tortilla scene, and that's the first time that they're all realizing that they're fucked.
Yeah.
In some regard. I think that scene's really funny.
This movie's kind of slow burn. Now that I think about it, it is paced kind of slow, but like in a good way. It works
perfect.
well. No,
I think
I think the pacing is good. I'm saying it is slow. That's what it needs to be. But it does like take a while to really ramp up. Accelerates into the finish line though.
I was not to keep talking, but I feel like as soon as they are in the restaurant, so they're at the amuse bouche, there are people like bickering. Like you're starting to feel like uneasy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But
you don't really know what exactly is going to go down
yeah.
until the mess though. All right, you want to rate it?
Yeah.
Since we're over. Okay, I have my rating. You're not going to like it. I'm giving it a 7.5 out of 10. It's very good. But that I feel like 75% passing grade. I like it. It's not standout, but I enjoyed it a lot.
Casey?
it was 7 out of 10.
Oh, no. That's good for a horror movie for you, though.
Yeah. I'm
It's
pleased.
like a 10 out of 10.
I'm pleased with this. It's an upgrade from our last outing. I love this movie, but I can recognize its flaws, and that as much as it's a very fun movie, it's not perfect. It's not as stylized as some of the other things that I would maybe go with a 10 out of 10.
I've been rating a lot of other movies, and I just like I know it's not. I know what an 8 is in comparison to other ones. And I'm like, it's like just under an 8.
I'm going 8.5.
Woo!
I
That's
really
high.
fucking like this movie.
That's fine. You're allowed to have your opinion.
Yeah.
You actually stuck with one this time. You weren't a coward.
What do you mean?
Usually you like adjust yours based on what we give.
No, I was always going 8.5.
Oh, you're good. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You stuck with your guns.
Yeah. Well, sometimes having the conversation sways me to one way or the other, where I'm like, y'all are right, or I'm like, fuck you, Matt. It's better than you're saying it is, so I'm gonna keep it higher.
Right.
But, I don't know, since we started talking, I've felt pretty good about an 8.5, because it's not a 9, but I do love it. Like, to me, I could rewatch this over and over and over again, like I could with Knives Out.
Yeah.
That's what, yeah. The vibes feel vibing similar.
To Knives Out feels crazy.
Knives Out's so much better. I'm sorry,
I was
Hannah.
reading a review today.
Leagues better.
Because Knives Out is the 9.5 for me.
Okay.
I love Knives Out so much. It's one of my top 10,
that's
top 5
interesting.
favorite movies.
It would be hard
Both
for
of
me.
them, too.
The second one's also good, but it's not nearly as good as the first one, in my opinion. I think the menu's better than Knives Out 2.
No.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree
Or
with
like
that.
the same.
They feel similar to me. The first one, though, is like, it could be a 10 out of 10 for me. I don't know.
Yeah, the first one is like an iconic, incredible movie.
We saw that in theaters, so everyone.
shit.
We saw it in theaters,
You
so
can all
everyone who
eat shit.
didn't can eat shit because that was awesome.
We saw both in theaters because we wanted to get money.
Didn't we see Knives Out right before COVID happened, though?
Yes, we did.
We saw Knives Out in 1917. I always brag about that, and then COVID happened. Yeah, also fun movie in theaters.
Knives Out was my pick. 1917 was yours, so
Both
I picked the better
very
movie.
fun.
Okay.
All right,
Well, that's all, folks.
I'm looking out to Knives Out 3.
Mm-hmm.
Dead Man, what's it called? I don't know. Is
Dead
Josh
Man's
O'Connor from
No
Challengers in
Tales.
it? Josh O'Connor from Challengers is in it. Everyone see Challengers. I've been saying that a bunch on this
Yeah,
podcast. It's a
that
good movie.
movie's great. Talk about
See it.
style.
Okay.
Yeah, Challengers. All right, Casey, thank you for joining us again.
Sure.
Anything to plug? Any fun facts you'd like to share?
Oh, none at all.
Nothing to put into the
unfortunately.
universe for us.
No.
Okay,
Don't
that's
follow
okay.
me.
Don't
Okay.
follow her. We won't tag her anywhere. You'll have no idea what's happening.
All right, well, I've been Matt Hanna,
I'm Hannah.
and this is Horror Hour with the Hannas. We're done.
Thank you for listening to Horror Hour with the Hannas. Make sure to listen to future episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or wherever you can find podcasts. You can follow us at Horror Hour with the Hannas on TikTok and Instagram for more content. If you like the podcast, please follow and leave a review on your favorite podcasting app. Happy hauntings!